Good morning. Happy 4th. Welcome to the CU Podcast. A day early, the 4th of July, 2022. That's Ian. I'm Pat.
It's me.
Would you raise your hands if you're sure?
Right here.
You must be sure. On the show today, we'll be talking about someone who really loves F-Zero. We'll be talking about... You okay with your back, Ian?
A big stretch.
A big cat stretch?
Big cat stretch.
Cyberpunk 2077 bugs and what happened there. The EA tweet from hell. The Atari 50th anniversary celebration collection. A new NFT console. And more.
The shit never stops.
We talked with spoilers about Stranger Things Season 4 mostly, and Ian talked about a few things. Mostly me rambling on the exclusive Patreon CU Podcast, cupodcast.com. No, it's not cupodcast.com. It's patreon.com/CU Podcast. I screwed it up. What's going on?
Not a whole lot. I had a busy weekend. I talked about organizing some records on the bonus bit.
The bonus?
Went and played a little pinball last night. I had some plans fall through and decided to get out of the house. Vonnie was at doing night zoo with one of her friend Karen.
Night zoo is the best zoo.
It's so cool. And she got really good pictures. There was I'm bummed I didn't go. There was two elephants, and they were playing with each other, and their tusks or their trunks were all intertwined and stuff. Cool. Yeah, so she got really good pictures of them being super active.
Oh, that's cool.
So I went and played pinball at Harbortown Pub, local place, probably the place I've played the most pinball at. And I like the food there. I like the bartenders.
Food's pretty good.
They're really nice.
Good nachos.
Yeah, good nachos. Pulled pork nachos are overdone, but they do a good one. But my problem there is it's a bar, and I don't expect there to be kids, but there's always fucking kids running around at Harbortown.
Why do you think that is? Is it the area, or
I think it's the area, and it's like the one place where shitty parents think they can go drop their kids off in the back room, and then they go drink. I mean, that's what
even though it's not like a traditional arcade, it's mostly pinball.
It's pinball.
Yeah.
So they give their screaming kids money, and then the kids put the money in the pinball machine, and then they literally like flip the balls and then stand there banging the glass. Like it's just, and no one ever does anything.
They bang the glass. What are they, 3? How old are these kids?
Oh, some of them are like 8.
I could play pinball when I was 8. I wasn't doing that shit.
No one fucking takes care of their goddamn kids in this bar.
Man.
And I'm playing, and the kids yesterday weren't like too bad, but they kept like crowding me when I was playing to try to watch. And I get pretty active, so like I'm hip checking these fucking kids in the head, and I'm not trying to because they're small and they're like sneaking up on me, and I'm wiggling. I'm like, fuck.
You're wiggling.
You're
wiggling pinball moves. I've seen you. You get the gyrations going. You're Elvis.
Yes.
Going there.
So, anyways.
Anyway.
I one of the game ends, and this little girl, who I am not kidding you, cannot be more than 6 years old.
Okay.
I end the game. I pick up my beer. I take a drink. I put it in the cup holder, and I feel this little poke. And I turn, and the girl looks at me and goes, "I drink beer too," and turns around and walks away.
What?
So
wait a second.
Yeah.
Was she smiling or matter-of-factly saying it?
Matter-of-factly saying it.
I drink beer too.
She was like, "I drink beer too." Or she goes, "You know what?" And I said, "What?" And she goes, "I drink beer too." And she turns around and walks away. So,
wow.
Anyways, when I first got there, the kids weren't like super annoying, and the score-based replays were low enough that I was winning some free games. And in an effort to get them to stop like harassing, like screaming at their parents for more money, I was like, "There's a free game there. There's a free game there."
You started to just mine it.
So I was giving no, I wasn't putting money in, but like as I won the free game, I was like, "You can play my free game. You can play my free game."
To get them away from you. You were sacrificing your free game.
Yeah, I was sacrificing my free game so I could fucking focus on the game.
Ian pinball penny bags.
And
money bags. Penny.
So they all go sit down and eat after this girl tells me about beer. And then she comes back. And pokes me again, and I look, and she goes, "Can you rent me more free games?" Like Sassily.
I think this girl's just messing with you.
Sassily.
I think she's a future.
She's 6. No, she just doesn't have parents who know how to take care of her. She comes up to me. She's like, "Can you win me more free games?" And I was like, do you have
at any point, do you want to just go over to the parents and be like, can I talk to your parents for like a minute just to like say, hey, she told me she drinks beer? Not to drop a dime on a 6-year-old, but a 6-year-old should be drinking beer. If it's true.
And I'm sure she was just lying, but it was very weird. Anyways, I have done that to parents before. There was a kid like a week ago that I was playing there, and literally whenever he'd drain a ball, and I'm talking, it's like a 7, 8, 9-year-old, he would go and start hitting the glass. And I walked over to one of the parents and I said, if he breaks that, that's going to cost you about $1,000, which is a lie. The tempered glass is probably about $300, but
you want to get the point across.
I want to get the fucking point across that this is expensive shit. And he was all like pissed and then like at me for saying it, and then walked over and was like, hey, don't do that to the kid.
See, I would have told the proprietor about that, then they would go over to the parents.
There's no fucking proprietor. I feel like I don't
people
know.
People that work there. What do you mean?
Well, there's not a whole lot they can do. They try, but then that's their tips. Okay. It's tough. Service industry fucking sucks. It's tough to yell at their kids and then expect to get a tip, and that's
do you really think they're strong enough to break the glass?
I don't fucking care.
With their little
I don't give a shit. I don't want to listen to a fucking little shit kid fucking bang on glass and scream at the machine because no one's ever fucking disciplined their goddamn child.
Aren't kids great?
No, that's why I don't have any. I don't mind kids. I just don't.
Good kids are great.
Good kids are exactly.
Bad kids are the worst.
Exactly.
I think that's how
good kids are cool. I like hanging out. Like good kids, my nieces, nephews.
Yes,
like, awesome. But
either kids are either bad seeds sometimes, or the parents don't parent, and that's what you end up with.
This place is definitely like known as a dumping ground for kids.
It's known as a dumping ground. Kids for parents just want to get drunk.
Rarely do I ever see a parent who pays attention to their child after they walk in. They walk in, hand them the money, and then they disappear.
Give me 4 Jack and Cokes, and give the kid $3 and go to the back. Man.
Whew. Anyway, Nintendo fan. This is a good one. I have friends like this too who love F-Zero. A Nintendo fan
I love F-Zero.
Spent $40,000 buying stock. This is a Nintendo fan in Japan. He spent 5.6 million Japanese yen, or over $40,000, on Nintendo shares for one stock unit. I don't know what a stock unit means, but okay. I'm assuming it means enough to get in on an investor call.
Where you can dial in and talk to them.
Yeah, and the fan asked Shuntaru Furukawa, the president of Nintendo, whether the company had considered relaunching some fan favorite games franchises, specifically F-Zero, which was a racing game series that hasn't had a new entry since 2004.
It's 100 shares is one stock, according to this. 100.
The fan, who is based in Japan, so maybe they're American, and used an online translator to communicate, told Insider over Twitter direct messages that he bought 100 shares in February. He bought 100 shares at 56,430 yen a share in February after selling his stock in another company. He wishes to remain anonymous for privacy, but he says he's a diehard Nintendo fan. So yeah, I mean that's crazy. Well, that's one way to do it. I guess if you've got the money.
I mean, we've brought this up probably 5 times the past couple years. Mm-hmm. We talked about what IP should Nintendo bring back. That was the top. We're like, F-Zero sitting right there. It was popular enough that they got 3 games and an expansion on the N64. So 3.5 games they got out of this.
There's a bunch. There's 2 GBA games too.
Oh, if you can't. Okay, so there's 5. So what the hell are they doing? Why has it been 15 years that we haven't seen anything? What's happening here? And I always said at the time that they did some math in their head and was like, well, we already have a racing franchise, so why do this? Even though they're different franchises. F-Zero is pure racing. It's not a party battle racer. It's pure racing. So there's room for both. Yeah. There's room for both. There are different sets of fans, and you can play and you can buy both. It's not like you buy one or the other. Yeah, they fulfill different needs.
But I also agreed. I feel like Nintendo feels like it's silly to do 2 racing franchises, and I think that's why it's been so long. Because the last F-Zero, the GameCube one, was critically acclaimed. I mean, it was a very good game. I mean, if the common complaint was that it was too hardcore of a game. It's very, very difficult.
And it sold a lot. Yeah. It was a million seller, I believe.
They did a fucking... I don't think it was.
Was it?
I don't think it was, because that game's pretty hard. It's harder to come by on the GameCube.
Oh, harder, but it's not like one of
Yeah,
the
but
most common games.
I don't think it's like I said. I don't think it's.
All right, I'll look it up. I believe I have the $1 million one, but let me look that up. My vast GameCube collection of stuff I found at the swap meet over the years. All right, go on, Ian.
So, anyways, Furukawa's response was, "It is realistically difficult to develop new titles and remakes, including sequels, for every Nintendo game that people request. But we are very grateful and appreciate the expectations our fans have for our games."
I did have a player's choice version.
Oh, okay.
So I did re-release it. Yeah, it's common. It's a common game for GameCube. But anyway, so they asked the question, and you get the answer that we just don't want to do it, basically.
Yeah, we don't have the time. It's not a priority. So
we can't do remakes of all our games, even though they just did Advance Wars, and I would say that F-Zero.
People don't want a remake of F-Zero; they want a sequel.
But like the point is that you can do something with these properties. I think if they did a remaster of F-Zero, it would still do well. If they didn't just make a whole new game,
GX for
they would do well.
But that's probably a little bit more difficult because that was developed by Sega.
They probably have the rights to the code, right? They probably have all that.
Not necessarily. I mean, they didn't with GoldenEye. I mean, it depending on who your developer is, it's going to make it more difficult. I don't think Sega would be adverse to doing it.
Sega's taking any money, so.
I mean, that could be part of it.
I'd be shocked if they didn't own the full rights to F-Zero, because that's a franchise. GoldenEye wasn't a franchise for them; it was a one-off. That was just something that when Nintendo sometimes happens to publish some games, like they published Mega Man 6 on the NES. That's like it's almost like I don't know what the relationship is when they do that. Like why did they do that? I don't know. Maybe because just to help out Capcom, or Capcom didn't want to do it. I have no clue.
I mean, my guess is probably Capcom maybe didn't want to bring it over to the US because the NES was on its way out, and Nintendo is like, no, this is popular here, so
we can sell. We know we can sell some of them.
Yeah.
So we'll give you some of the money. So yeah. So anyway, but no, this is their franchise. They have a character in Smash Brothers that goes back to the original. Like this is their thing. I don't think this is. This would sell. I think this would sell well with the proper marketing. I think this. I don't know what the last Punch Out did, but we got a Punch Out on the Wii. I mean, it must have did okay. Okay, I know it's a weirder thing, Punch Out, but F-Zero is just racing.
Yeah.
Like you don't need like a bunch of lore or anything. It's just
Punch Out is like Fancy Simon. You just remember what
Fancy Simon.
Yeah.
We'll bring Simon up later on in the podcast. Ian's foreshadowing a little bit.
Yeah,
I believe. I've been playing Nintendo games since I was a kid. Among all that sense of speed, and F-Zero was the best. And then basically said, we can't do everything. We can't do everything. So
moving on.
I mean, Nintendo though keeps things close to the chest, close to the Captain Intro. Moving on. Okay, I'm sorry.
Fire Emblem Heroes makes. I got a lead. Fire Emblem Heroes makes $1 billion fucking dollars.
$1 billion
for Nintendo. That is their mobile game, which I have not touched. But I feel like it's probably got to be one of their.
That's it.
As far as Nintendo,
that's their best one.
Goes, not like Pokemon Company and shit.
Yeah, I feel like
that's the one that makes them.
Out of their 5 or so they've done.
That's the one that they keep doing because it makes really good money for them. I know Treg was really into it. From my understanding, is it's a game that is pretty decently playable, even if you don't want to put a lot of money into it, which is probably why it did so well. But obviously, there's always going to be whales.
Yeah, so they had Mario Kart, and according to this IGN article, Mario Kart Tour and Animal Crossing are in second place, joint second place. They earned $282 million total. And then Dragalia Lost is fourth. I didn't realize they did that at $168 million.
They shut it down too. That's over now.
It's gone.
Yeah, or they're going to shut it down.
And then Super Mario Run. Remember that was their first one after the weird. Remember the weird Miitomo? What the fuck was it called?
Miitomo.
Whatever was it?
Miitomo was one of them.
That was the first.
That was the 3DS one.
What was the experimental one where it was a social?
They're basically this.
The one you asked people if they like bread.
Yeah,
that one. That was like their experiment to see can we do mobile games, basically.
Right.
Then they come out with Super Mario Run, which I liked.
I thought it was great,
but that was $10 buy it up front. They didn't realize at the time Nintendo that's not what you do with these games.
Yeah, you monetize the shit out of them.
But I liked it, and I thought it was worth $10, and I completed it 100%.
It was a great game. I love that sort of stuff.
But that made only $87 million, despite having half of overall downloads on their apps. That show you how bad it was that no one actually bought it. They downloaded it, they played the demo, missions, stages, and they didn't buy it. And Dr. Mario World did the worst at 14 million.
Yeah, they shut that down last year.
I didn't realize they shut it down.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they shut it. I'm pretty sure we talked about it.
So that was only in existence for like a couple of years, a few years.
I think 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was terrible. I just didn't get into it. I was just like, oh, it's it's fine. But
I played through most of the story mode.
They really shut that down?
And played a couple online games. Online was fun. Yeah, they shut it down.
Wow.
Like I said, I thought we mentioned that in an intro.
No, I don't remember that. That's like,
well,
okay. It ended on November 1st. It was out for only 2 years.
Yeah.
Not even 2.5 years. July 2019 to November 2001. Okay. The point is that this is done gangbusters. This is their app game. That's done gangbusters.
Sure.
So Nintendo figured it out, and it went from saying we'll never do app games to we're going to do an app game and not realize what the market is to they sort of like figured out
we've made this gotcha RPG, and that's what everyone apparently wants.
Everyone wants stuff at ultimatenintendo.com though.
They
actually do. They want all the enamel pins. They want the RBI baseball stickers.
Holly golly, they love everything.
They love the Ultimate Nintendo guidebooks.
Holly golly,
they love all of it. They're going to love me this weekend in Greenville, South Carolina at the Southeast Game Exchange, July 9th and 10th. Why are you giving that look?
Don't love them too much.
They're going to love me in South Carolina. I've never been in South Carolina before. Flair country. Flair used to always say Greenville. And
Greenville,
he was always on his list when he was on WCW. We're Greenville. He did part of his tour, NWA tour in the 80s. You ever see Ric Flair's a schedule that someone like posted at one time, how nuts his schedule was like in the early 80s?
No.
It was insane. Like,
I bet.
And that was alongside, drinking every night and railing every woman he get his hands on. It was like insane. He was doing like 6 shows a week and traveling, sometimes more. It was nuts. So anyway, I'll be at the Southeast Game Exchange. Come out and see me. I'll have stuff going on there, and I'll be on Twitch Wednesday, twitch.tv/ContraCode. Ian will not be there, but you should. It's a fun time. People like it. Ian enjoys it the once every 8 months when he's there.
Yeah.
You see that EA tweet about single player games?
Oh, Jesus. EA is fucking dumb. They're always getting themselves into fucking hot ass water.
Hot ass water. Hot dog water. That's warm water.
Dog water. So where the fuck did it go? Come on now.
The tweet? The tweet's right there in the article.
Oh, okay.
EA tweeted on June 30th, they're at 10, but they only like playing single player games.
And
they got ratioed to the ends of the earth.
Yep. It is crazy because a lot of developers chimed in on it about how they were working on a single player game and lost their job. How some of their most successful games have been single player games, like the Dragon Age series. Mass Effect was also a single player game.
Trilogy, right?
Yeah. A trilogy. They published Anthem and then killed Anthem because that online game didn't fucking work
the
out
robot
for them.
weird thing one?
Yeah.
The top reply was our pal Matt McMuscles using an EA Madden image clown post. That's a meme where it's literally...
I think that's from NFL Blitz.
Oh, it's from Blitz?
I think that's from Blitz.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. That makes it less artistic, less poetic. But that was a top 11,000 replies.
So, Dead Space, they shut down Dead Space, which was one of their most popular games.
But they're still doing single player games. That's
well, yeah, they're also still doing single player games,
what makes it weirder.
Which makes it odd, and it makes it seem like they're shitting on their teams that are hard at work or making single player games.
And shitting on their legacy.
Yes.
Like what are you doing?
Yeah, it's fucking dumb.
The last Star Wars game was single player, where you're the redheaded Jedi.
Yeah,
we don't know the names of these things anymore.
No,
but that's single player. That had a story mode. Like, so what are you doing? What's going on, EA?
Star Wars Redhead Revolution.
Redheaded Revolution? What the hell is EA game Star Wars single
Jedi Fallen Order.
Was that?
I think.
No, it wasn't that, was it? Yes, it was.
Okay, then we did it.
Yes, it was.
We found
it's only $20.
I like Redhead Revolution.
It was a third-person action adventure from Respawn Entertainment. That came out, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? But even, like the Squadrons game has single-player on it that came out.
Yeah.
So what are you doing? So, obviously, people took offense to this because of the reasons we said, plus of EA obviously buying out studios that were known for single-player games and shutting them down. And I know this isn't like a hire up at EA tweeting this out. They hire social media, like folks that are clever to do this stuff, like the people that run the Wendy's account and other things. Shout out to the Steakums account, because that's funny and it's philosophical, and that's probably just someone that works there, you know.
No, they've done a whole background on him. I can't remember what else he does.
They're not from Steakums?
He's not. It's an actual Steakums account, but he was hired out.
Oh, I thought that was like does Steakums know about some of those tweets?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They do? Okay, that's their philosophy. The point is that if this is on your social media, this is the stance of your company. This is PR. So obviously there was fierce backlash, and then they backtracked a couple days ago or yesterday. They backtracked and said something. It was fucking lame as hell.
Yeah, they said where was it? Roast or L accepted or something like that.
Oh, roast well deserved. We'll take this L because playing single player games actually makes them an 11. That's not what you insinuated from your post.
Yeah.
And why would EA, of course, want to focus on multiplayer games, Ian? Why would they want to do that?
Because of all their fucking microtransactions.
Thank you. That's where they make their boats. All their fucking FIFA card packs and NBA shit and things like that. That's where they make their money.
Yep.
It's like dev time versus profit. If you're looking at the scale, it's least amount of dev time per dollar on all that shit, on those card packs and everything. They realize that. They're not stupid. They're not stupid. They're gonna make that bank. We'll never forget the. Do I have to move on, Captain Intro? We'll never forget the
got another minute.
The Need for Speed mobile game.
Oh God, where they charged you for gas
from several years back. That's in the Hall of Fame.
That was one of our first conversations about microtransactions.
It's like 2013 or 14.
We were fresh faced.
We were young and plucky.
Bushy-tailed.
Pat had no gray hairs yet.
I might have. I started getting my grays early.
Did you?
Yep.
I don't remember that. That's when you saw your Prince Valiant look. Clean cut.
Yeah, maybe.
Short hair. I don't remember that. So anyway, I just think it's funny. Speaking of gamers, toxic fans are called out here recently in the industry due to a couple of things that happened. The Monkey Island creator, Ron, is it Gilbert or Gilbert? Gilbert. I like Gilbert. It sounds fancier. He's basically saying there's been no updates to Return to Monkey Island, because people are being assholes about the game and the art direction.
Basically, the art direction. They're expecting pixel art or whatever. This art is extremely stylized and honestly looks a lot like the old art that was used for some of. Basically, it's in line. The characters look like the characters.
You're the Monkey Island expert, so you can talk about it more than me.
So, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say other than, I think the games were great, and this is a different look for the series, but Ron Gilbert's in charge. There's no reason to assume that this is going to be a bad game. It's just a bunch of fucking assholes who think they can control a developer and bully a developer into making the game that they want, as opposed to the game that he wants to make.
I'm just sort of shocked because I didn't expect a franchise like this to have. I'm being naive, Pat, to have this level of toxicity towards it, being that this goes back to the old, adventure games on the PC.
Well, I am kind of surprised by that, too. I honestly figured the adventure game community would be
older and more mature.
Older and more mature, exactly.
Are we going to have people fucking going after, old Sierra folks? If this happens? Are people going to be going after the next King's Quest game comes out? They're going to go after, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So,
and then it also happened to I think the producer. So anyways, going back to Monkey Island real quick, Ron Gilbert shut down the comments on his blog and says he's just not going to fucking talk about the game anymore. And good for him.
People know about it. People that like
put your mental health first.
Yeah, some of the comments here are just waited 30 years for this. Just when I wanted to say, whatever you do, don't make it a leftist, multi-culty gender BS. I saw this ill graphic style. This can't be saved anymore. We'll definitely not buy it. Yeah. When you get, and also comments like that, it's like, okay, you don't know these people are actually fans of this, or they're just using this to pump themselves up, or it's just mob mentality.
I think that's a lot of it. It's a way for someone to go and say something mean.
Sure.
About something that they maybe never had any, plans on playing. And also it's a lot of people being like, oh, don't inject politics or, satire or anything in this. When
what?
these things have always been that way. I mean, these games always make little knocks and stuff like that. It's like people who watch Star Trek and be like, well, Star Trek's woke now. No, you're just a fucking moron. Star Trek's always been, this way. The fact that these people grow up and don't...
They see different things based upon their worldview than what even the creators intended.
Correct.
Which is, they're like reinterpreting things. Yeah, the Star Trek thing was insane when you saw that. Star Trek's always been...
every time.
Star Trek's always been super progressive.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, always. Like, always. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Anyway.
So this also happened with the producer for God of War, said that there was no real news and asked everyone to remain patient while waiting for more news on the game. And it's a bummer because this game's taking a little while to come out, a little bit longer to come out than people wanted, but they're not giving in to like crunch and stuff like that, which is
wait
great.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit longer. I think this is going to go to show like there's going to be, I think, diminishing returns. These companies are going to look at this and be like, well, what's the point of releasing this information? Like, what is really the point?
There is no point anymore.
When it's ready, we'll come out with the trailer for it, and people will get interested in it. What's the point of having all this information up front? Again, it goes back to the Fire Pro thesis. Once it's done or close to it, we'll tell you about it, and it's coming out. Nintendo has now done this, great after the Metroid Prime fiasco. Well, that game, who the hell knows when that's going to come out? Where it's been 5 years since they announced it, or 6 years, whatever it's been originally. Like, there's no advantage to letting people know about this stuff from a financial standpoint, or even for mental health, until it's ready.
So, a development director for EA named Alex Mann made a tweet, tweeting Dominic Armato, who is working on the new Monkey Island game with Ron Gilbert. And Alex Mann says, when folks continue to wonder or ask why some game studios don't communicate or speak about games ahead of release anymore, or why they don't engage with communities, this is 100% why. It's not worth the personal toll and cost to mental health to continue to try. It drives me nuts how so many of these people think that they are owed this. And they will scream and screech at the top of their fucking lungs. And
unfortunately, they think they can make a difference. I saw some people talking about the backlash to the Sonic movie and how that helped get it done. There is a negative part of that because now people probably do think, hey, if I yell loud enough, they can make changes to the shit I don't like.
Sure.
And it's so rare. That was such a rare exception when that happened with that Sonic movie.
And I think it's
very rare.
I think the reason it happened is because I'm going to guess a lot of the people on the art team for that movie were like, looked to the higher ups and were like, we fucking told you.
Yes.
This is different because these are people making the game they want to make.
Correct.
With Sonic the movie, the artists probably hated what they were being told to do too, so they used it as an opportunity to be like, trust us.
Yeah, they probably, Wink, had the model ready to go originally what it should have been, and we said, no, we want to do this
look
instead.
Look at what we can do.
Yes. And they said, no, we want it to look like a human teeth thing. The point is that it's the same mentality. Rightly or wrongly, it's the same mentality.
Yes,
Say, well, I'm going to scream and yell, and I'm going to get what I want. And like I said, it almost never, ever happens when it comes to this stuff.
Oh, Jesus. This woman, Estelle Tigani. Pro tip, sending me dick pics asking for the God of War Ragnarok release date will not, in fact, get me to reveal the release date. So, fucking disgusting.
Oh, boy. Humanity's amazing. It's amazing. Was that in the Eurogamer article? There,
yeah, it is. It's further down you go, and there's some tweets there.
Fantastic. Cyberpunk 2077. One of the probably most infamous cases of a game not ready for release that had tons of game-breaking bugs. And at the time, we asked, why was this released? How could this have been released at the time? Besides, yes, they wanted it out, and you had, the CD Projekt Red's shareholders and stuff. But it sounds like there was actually like a substantial reason on the QA side about what was happening. And this is from For the Win. It's a USA Today article. I did not know there was an imprint called For the Win on USA Today. Cyberpunk 2077 bugs reportedly caused by deception of the QA team. So basically what it sounds like is that they hired this QA team who promised we're going to have the best working on this, and we have the best QA people working on this. And it sounds like they shortchanged CD Projekt Red, and they just got a bunch of juniors on, didn't know what the hell they were doing.
Yeah.
And then
the team was made up of junior staff with less than 6 months of quality assurance experience.
So instead of then like trying to break the game and finding stuff. They were just handing over laundry lists of minor bugs instead. Probably doing the opposite of what QA probably is. You try to break the game first and then worry about the little shit.
Yeah.
Because obviously if you break the game, that's bad.
Right.
And it's a broken game. And it's still incredible, though, that there wouldn't be checks and balances to this along the way. Like there was a there was a quota of bugs they had to report each day, and they don't know whether or not that was internal or imposed by CD Projekt. Changes things a little bit. If it was imposed by CD Projekt, well, you get what you ask for, unfortunately. Sure.
If it was internally demanded, then that's just a bad fucking... I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for disaster either way, but where's the blame lie? But
yeah, I'd be shocked, though, just from a project management standpoint, that, yeah, if I hire an external team to do this, this is still my game. I have to have someone running that team.
Right. You can't have it be
you can't have it be totally, okay, here comes the list.
Here's the report from... Yeah.
No. You have to have someone that's like double checking this, or even being like, hey, like, because the programmers are running through the game as well, and they have probably some people be like, okay, are they catching this stuff? Like, we're catching this stuff. The QA team should be catching this stuff. There should be like some sort of like, trust but verify system in this that sounds like was just, oh, we'll just give it to them. We're not going to worry about it all. That's insane for a game this big. I can't picture this happening. Like, I just can't. You would expect there to be game-breaking bugs. I would expect there to be on a game this large.
Sure.
You would think. And it just sounds like it didn't happen. It says, the programming QA teams being inundated by minor bug fixes. Yeah, it's great to find minor bugs, but you can always fix those down the line, like as the game's even live. Like, that's not as big of a
find
deal. The
stuff where, like, what you need to find is the stuff where, like, the dude's riding on the motorcycle and then T-poses and his pants disappear. Like, that's what you need to.
Yeah, but they still released the game. They could have probably said, all right, we need 6 months. We'll just hold it back.
And let's see, what is Cyberpunk doing right now? So Cyberpunk 2077 right now on Steam is surprisingly not on sale during the...
I thought it was.
Oh, it is. It's 50% off.
Oh, okay, so it's like $30?
It's $30.
Okay.
And it has mostly positive reviews now, so maybe they've gotten that figured out. But with every little bit that comes out about the development of this game, it just sounds like...
Remember, it's only been out for like a year and like 9 months.
Yeah, sounds like a shit show.
So anyway, so at least that answers our questions why we were like scratching our heads, like, how could this happen? This is like gives a hint to how it can happen.
Yeah.
You want to talk about this Samsung thing real quick?
Sure. So Samsung is releasing putting out a TV that is going to have Stadia, Xbox Game Pass apps, and GeForce Now streaming apps. It says Amazon Luna is coming soon. So I don't love streaming but for a lot of people it's probably good enough to fuck around. Xbox Game Pass has streaming options. People still play PS3 games through streaming on PlayStation Plus or PS Now, whatever it's now called. It's like a different tier of PlayStation Plus. And Stadia is somehow still kicking along. Point being, streaming is good enough for some people, and we're finally getting TVs that are putting these apps on there. We're still not at the point where I think gaming is going to go console-less, but these are the first little baby steps to seeing gaming becoming something else.
Yeah, like I would be more apt to get Microsoft Game Pass if I was like, okay, I'll fire it up on my TV. I don't need a console. I don't even need the Series S anymore. Let's just see what it looks like. And then worst case scenario, I can still play it on my computer. But yes, it would be nice to play it on a TV.
Yeah, as long as you've got good internet and the streaming is decent. Because it is. Yes. I mean, you're not downloading these games. It's not like there's a hard drive on the TV.
It's just what's your Wi-Fi, or if you're tethered up directly, it'd be great. But almost no one's tethered up directly anymore because people's houses usually aren't set up like that. But if you want to run a 50-foot line, I could run a 50-foot line on my TV if I have to. So it's interesting. I didn't realize how many of these had. I knew about NVIDIA's GeForce. I knew about Stadia. I never heard of Utomic before. I never heard of that.
Neither have I.
Utomic?
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
And then the Amazon Luna one that we hear about coming. It's just everyone's getting in on the action. It's the streaming app wars of 2022.
There's also pass-through controller inputs, which is interesting.
That's cool.
You can use a single controller instead of having to pair multiple ones. And HDMI-connected video game consoles will appear in the hub, so you can kind of fire up anything.
Oh, so if you're in the hub and you have the console connected.
You could still use your TV remote, go to the gaming menu, click that.
You want to change the source and everything.
Right, it'll do all that for you.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's cute.
All right, Samsung. I got a Samsung TV. I like it. I don't know if Ian likes Samsung.
Oh, I was diehard Samsung until it came time to get the OLED, and LG have the best OLEDs, so that's when I made the switch. But I was always Samsung ahead of time.
A lot of
before
time,
that.
The sources are the same for the actual screens.
Well, LG makes the OLED screens.
They make their own? Okay.
And then I think Panasonic's OLEDs use LG's OLED screens.
Gotcha.
I don't think, or maybe Sony's use LG's. I don't think there's anyone else right now besides LG manufacturing OLED screens in the capacity that they do.
Okay. Ian with some TV tech news right there.
I got really into looking at my OLED TV. I love it. I think it would be tough for me to go back because the colors are so nice.
Okay. And then I believe we talked about this EA thing. Why is it down here? Did you talk about it earlier than we were supposed to? Or did I move it?
It was EA. You moved it, but didn't move the one article. It was underneath the.
We're breaking the fourth wall.
The Ultimate Nintendo stuff. Yeah, it's all right. That's fine.
Is that okay with Captain Intro?
Yeah, it's all right.
Atari celebrated 50 years as a brand.
Atari
last week. Brand because the company changed names from Syzygy, whatever it was.
Yep.
So. This would have been nice for the podcast last week. This is a cool thing. It's the Atari 50th anniversary celebration. This will be a retrospective game compilation, and it's going to be from Digital Eclipse.
I have the utmost faith in this being a especially if you like history, if you like information, and that sort of stuff. The Digital Eclipse collections. Like the SNK 40th anniversary, the Street Fighter collection, they go out of their way to make sure that it is packed with information that you would want, art you've never seen before, interviews. So I'm really excited for this for the educational reason, or for the educational stuff. But it's 90 games across 6 systems. So this isn't going to be your usual, 2600 game dump. Yeah. With an interface. Yeah. They're going to be even putting some Jaguar games on there, that's exciting. It's very exciting because Jaguar emulation is not great, and very few of these games have ever really been revisited, except for by the very small hardcore, Jaguar fan. So you have interviews with folks on here. Our pal Harry Scott Warshaw is interviewed, obviously. There's going to be 6 titles inspired by the classics. If you look quickly in the intro, you can see there's going to be an updated version of Yars' Revenge and Combat. So that's at least 2 of them that there's like a new modern version on there. And then there's stories, like I said, stories and interviews. There's Gary Kitchen and David Crane. There, if you see that, Ian, about 26 seconds in. So this is about, like we talked about last week, how you are the guardian and steward of these IPs and going forward. And this is exactly what you do. We touch upon, like you do compilations, you do things, but this is how you pay tribute, because this might be the last time we see this. Yeah, I mean, this could be it. 100 years from, like 50 years from now, you probably won't see this. But this is how you do it. You have all the great games, you have interviews with people, you have memories, and you have some remakes, and you do justice to the history. And yeah. And this is really cool. So they are doing, I think you mentioned it a little bit, but the 6 games, they're doing 6 new games on there that revisit older stuff. So Sword Quest Airworld is finally going to get a release, or they're basically, the people at Digital Eclipse made it based on the design, based on design influence from the original games. It's fucking cool as hell. And then Haunted House is going to get a voxel based sequel called Haunted Houses. Then there's apparently going to be a vector like type game that pulls from Asteroids, Tempest, and other
So-
vector-based classics. A new Breakout, Quadra Tank, and then the Yar's Revenge.
So you're going to get, if you're doing the math in my head, 2600, 52 probably, 78, Atari Computer, Lynx, and Jaguar.
That would be my guess, yes.
And I'm guessing some of those Atari games, 80s arcade games we love. I'm guessing. I would hope some of those are there. I hope we would get like Paperboy and Rampart in those, but
And
maybe.
I feel like this is something Digital Eclipse would do if possible, especially for the PC version. Allow an option for a trackball in there.
I would
Pain in the ass to go and find. No one has them, but that would be a neat thing to find in there.
or at least the mouse then,
Well, I'm sure they'll do that, but
at
yeah.
least the mouse.
Give me a trackball.
Look at him. Look
Give
at
me a
his
trackball.
look into his
Centipede,
eyes.
please.
Look into his eyes.
Please. I
needs
just want
it.
to play Centipede the right way at home.
And hell, while I'm at it, and you got Tempest with a spinner. It's going to be you got the Jaguar. Looks like the Jaguar Tempest. Put the arcade one on as well. That'd be great because that's never really been released, has it? On some, I guess some compilations had the arcade Tempest.
I'm pretty sure they do.
Some brought up in the comments as we get to talk about Star Wars Arcade. Well, there's a rights issue to that. It'd be great to get the Star Wars Arcade game on there. It would.
That was Atari. I always forget that it was Atari.
Yeah, that was Atari. But
It's weird because there's a Star Wars arcade game for the ColecoVision.
well, yeah, it's the same arcade one. They just ported it over.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
It was. I
weird
mean,
seeing-
it was on the 2600. It's just rare.
yeah.
they
I
bought
think
it-
there's a 5200 version as
I
well.
think I bought out Luna Video Games 2 locations. I think
Yeah,
I bought it there
probably.
one time. There's an Asteroids. There was Asteroids on. Is this like a Jaguar Asteroids? So we'll see what the list is. I would love to know two things: price and the games. I want to see the list of games.
I'm gonna guess it'll be a $59.99 sort of average release, but maybe not.
I'm not at 40. They'll go up to 60.
I think so. I think all their other games were 60, and I mean, well worth it.
I want the 80s. This is a day one buy. If I get all those 80s arcade games, I always talk about the great mid 80s run, 720, all those. It's a day. I mean, day one. I'm more excited about this than the other compilations we've seen because of that. Plus all the interviews and stuff.
Well, and the thing, I love these compilations, especially for systems that I like Atari stuff, but I like playing it en masse. Like I like being able to flip around between games, and I don't focus on one at any given time. And this is a system that maybe I don't know everything about, and I can just buy this one collection and have a real good time with it.
So we don't have a release date yet on this,
No, I think it was just announced. We don't have a release date or
or
games
price
list.
or games. Yeah, obviously we'll get the game list. A lot of it's going to be the ones we've seen before on these compilations, but there's going to be, or whatever you can get on the Atari VCS. But there'll be some probably hopefully ones besides the Jaguar. I want to see Jaguar. I want to see Lynx.
Just like
I wanna
the
see arcade
SNK
ones.
collection they did focused on a lot of stuff that we maybe never got to play from SNK. I have a feeling they will do a good job making the game list very interesting.
It looks like there's some obviously third parties on here. I saw Miner 2049 around here. I wonder if they want to throw in. You kind of muddy it with some of the Activision Atari 2600 games, but it'd be nice since they're kind of synonymous with the console.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, it's Atari games.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see the Activision ones.
No, I get it. I'm looking at there's the quick list here. They show them. You get Scrapyard Dogs in the 7800. You get that classic on there. So looking at some of these here, some of these third party. I'm trying to see which ones are third party real quick. I actually never played 7800 Asteroids. Never played that.
I played it on the Evercade, and I mean, it's whatever. It's fine.
It's just a graphical update.
Yeah, it's not vector. It's just like a more of a full color sort of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. And meanwhile, other pal, Leonard Herman, one of the OG video game historians.
We love Leonard.
Author of Phoenix, Rise of Video Games. I think is there a fifth version coming out?
Jesus,
I think there's a fifth.
I have fourth.
Yeah, he gave us the fourth. He was very nice. He published for the 50th anniversary the final correspondences between Nolan Bushnell of Atari and Ralph Baer, who created the Brown Box, which became the Manibox Odyssey, the first home video game console. And talks about the rivalry. This is on his website, thegamescholar.com. I'll link it on the YouTube below. They were professional rivals. It looks like up to the very end.
Yep.
It's an interesting read. The big takeaways is that they obviously the rivalry centers on the fact that Ralph thinks that Nolan Bushnell went to the event where they saw the Odyssey or the brown box at the time being demoed, and then Nolan then came up with Pong after that. He took the idea and made it, he perfected it. And, so obviously there's some ill will towards that. They settled that, I believe. They settled that stuff in, I believe in court. Some of that was settled. I believe.
They talk about that in the letter.
But then Atari had the Touch Me little handheld little game, which was a repeat pattern game. And then
and that became Simon.
Ralph Baer was like, you know what? I can do this better and add sound to it. And Simon was a cultural phenomenon, while Touch Me is like a footnote that no one talks about.
Which is funny because my grandparents, my grandfather loved it. Had a little Atari Touch Me, like the little portable one, and it made sound. I don't know if the original version did, but it wasn't like the big light up buttons or anything like.
Did it have the same tones? I think the tone.
I think it's different. Yeah,
okay.
I think it might be different.
So anyway, so it's interesting because they had rivalries. So a lot of this letter is them sniping at each other, but the big thing that Ralph wanted, Ralph basically wanted receipts because there was an insinuation, you can read it, that Nolan Bushnell was like, "Hey Ralph, you looked at my notebook with my ideas and stuff," and Ralph's like, "Oh, that's interesting. Well, where is this notebook?"
Well, and what I love is how he's like, that sounds really cool. That should definitely be preserved, but I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
In the nicest way possible. Ralph's
yes.
like, "Hey, that'd be great for preservation." Ralph's like, "All my stuff's preserved in the Smithsonian. They have copies of all my notes and all the stuff I came up with. They have my original brown boxes. Where's this magical notebook?"
Just unloads on him, and like it really is like but it's nice.
It's a nice.
Yeah.
Ralph's a guy you want to share a sandwich with there. And then Nolan never responded because I think he realized they don't like each other professionally, going back to the 70s.
Yeah, and they talked a little bit about, and I feel like that's kind of lame, about how they, like, 99, 2000 CGE, they were supposed to, like, meet up and play a game of Pong and see who the winner was.
In all goodwill.
And Baer, and Nolan said he was going to be there, and Baer showed up, and Nolan never showed up. So it seems like Baer was probably a bit more
magnanimous at the end,
into the idea of,
let bygones be bygones,
burying the hatchet.
Yeah.
But it seemed like Bushnell, on the other hand, was harboring some very long-time grudges.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know Nolan. He's still around. Never met him, but Nolan, if you look at like historically and monetarily, came out much the winner if there was a war at all.
Right.
Due to obviously Pong and Atari, and then selling to Warner Communications. And he had the Funhouse, was it Funtime Pizza, whatever, Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
Became Chuck E. Cheese. So he had all this stuff going on, and Ralph was just led a more quiet life and was mostly forgotten about for most of video game history.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know why, from my perspective, why no one would still hold these grudges.
Right. You came out on top, man. Like,
yeah, you both can share credit if you want to share credit.
20 years ago, 30 years ago.
You can both share credit. So, there you have it. It's interesting to check out. So the combination of that happening and this, so I'm actually kind of excited for the Celebration collection, especially since if this is a leap forward, I think I saw murmurings of, a new Jaguar emulator or advances in order to do this. That's significant.
Sure.
For the whole the scene, if that emulator can be used or sourced in the future to that's significant,
right?
Because I've not heard of a Jaguar games like this being re-released like this.
No,
so that's cool.